Hey everyone, this is Mario again, coming at you another movie review. Today's review is of M. Night Shyamalan's 2008 film, the horror thriller The Happening, which, as I think I've mentioned already a couple times, the only thing I really remember from when around this time this film came out was the advertising. M. Night Shyamalan's first R-rated movie. Which I have to say, that R rating is only really shown in one major scene. At least I could see why it was gotten an R. If not for that one scene, I would say this is probably PG-13, a hard one. But I probably still would have gotten an R for language, maybe. But back in the day, this would have been a PG-13 if not for that one scene. Anyway, of course, it's written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and it stars Mark Wahlberg, Zoe Deschanel, John Leguizamo, and Betty Buckley. And of course the score is done by James Newton Howard, which is an interesting score. Probably not my favorite of the ones he's done for the M. Night movies, but still pretty good, it fits. And of course this is the film he did for 20th Century Fox. And I have to say this is probably one of their few enjoyable movies, another enjoyable movie they did, that actually is, but of course, different type of enjoyable, let's say, other movies they've done. As you can tell from that, I do enjoy the movie. I enjoy it from the same angle that I enjoy Signs from. It's like a big budget B movie. Difference is there, Signs is more enjoyable for me, and I will explain why throughout the course of this review. Now, of course, we all know the reason why he went to Fox, because we all know that he left Disney after The Village because the one person basically snubbed him and didn't even like Lady in the Water script, which you guys already know my thoughts on that from the last video. And because of the fact that Warner Brothers lied to the audience with their trailer for Lady in the Water, he decided to go to another studio, so he went to Fox. Sorry, that's a message from Facebook, sorry about that. Anyway, he went to Fox, and we got this. Apparently, he also rewrote the script a little bit. I actually would like to see what the original script idea was so I can notice the difference. Anyway, the plot of the movie is that it starts in New York Central Park, where these people begin committing mass suicide. Of course, we started from there, and then of course we go to a construction site. And I have to say, this scene is actually one of my favorite jokes in the Good Bad Flicks review of this movie. It's raining. Yeah, that's an obvious joke. I know I had to mention it, but that's an obvious joke, and it is kind of funny. If you want to actually watch that review afterwards, type in Good Bad Flicks, The Happening. It's a fun review, actually. But that review is actually what got me to actually watch M. Night's movies, because I usually was making fun of him without watching the movies. So, anyway, back to the review. At first, people believe it's a terrorist attack, and because of this, they close schools and stuff. And of course, at this point, we're introduced to our main characters. First, we have Elliot Moore, who is a high school science teacher in Philadelphia. Resist. Twist joke about Philadelphia. Anyway, Wahlberg is, of course, the actor who plays Moore, and we also meet his wife, Alma, played by Zoe, with 2 O's. Then we have Julian, a high school math teacher who is Elliot's friend, played by John Leguizamo, among others. Let's see, we gotta find the actress who plays the daughter. Then we got Jess, played by Ashlyn Sanchez, who is Julian's daughter, and those are our main characters. Now, of course, because of the attack, they decide to get out of the city, and they try to go by train, and they're stopped because they've lost communication and everything. And because of this, and then, oh, excuse me, I lost my train of thought there, sorry. Excuse me, it's 9 o'clock when I'm recording this, so sorry if I seem, but then, as I was saying, they lost the train lost contact with guys on the other end, obviously. And because of this, they decide to stop the train. Now the people are on their own. And as they watch news reports, they see that smaller and smaller populations are getting attacked, so they split up. Julian goes to try to find his wife. And Elliot, Alma, and Jess go off to find people. And the rest of the movie they spend trying to get away from whatever's happening. Of course, they come across 2 kids, which leads to the scene that is the reason that this movie has an R rating. The kid's getting shot point blank with a shotgun, which that's actually a very good scene. It's used effectively, and a lot more. It's actually a lot more. It's a lot gorier in the uncut version, obviously, but I really wish I don't know if they did release an unrated cut, but if they did, let me know, guys. But the uncut version, you actually see skull and brain matter fly, but even without that, it's effective because the kid got shot point blank in the skull. I mean, you could tell that M. Night really did take the opportunity of making his first R-rated movie and push the envelope a little, because you don't really see kids killed in movies that often. Granted, these are like early teenagers, but still, same principle. Now, like I mentioned with Signs, I see this as a big budget B movie, and most of the critics who like this movie actually agree with me. Granted, it has an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes, so you can see that most critics hated it, or at least, which I could see why. This doesn't seem to be a cup of tea movie to them, and I will address my major problems in a little bit. Stephen King did like the movie, which I could see why the master of modern day horror did enjoy the movie. He just says that most of what he says here, according to Wikipedia, is mostly about the atmosphere of the movie, not the acting. So, I guess he just didn't want to comment on the acting because it'd be a waste to comment on. Gotta go back. I wonder what I'm doing. I'm going back to the Google search for it. It has 18% on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics. I believe it has a 32 with the audience. Yeah, 29. It was off by 3 points. And it has a 5.1 on IMDb. That's more or less what I would expect from this movie. Now, writing-wise, I have to say this is another good effort from M. Night. It's a step up from The Village. Writing-wise, more or less about as good as Signs, even though Signs has a bigger problem with its logic, you know. Then again, maybe that's just the execution. I don't know. I never read the script, but more or less about the same. Lady in the Water, I still say is better, and of course, Unbreakable and Sixth Sense, his best movies. But if there's one major problem I have with this movie that keeps me from, this being a constant rewatch movie, it is our leads. Just think about it. What is the thing, other than the story, what is the one thing that you want to have in the movie? At least in a movie. At least one likable lead. Just think about it. That's what all of his movies do, have semi-likable leads, okay? Think of it. Sixth Sense, we got Bruce Willis's character there. Unbreakable, we have his other character, and then of course until the end we got Samuel Jackson's character. Signs, we got Mel Gibson's character and Joaquin Phoenix's character. They are at least likable. The kids, not so much. Especially Culkin, because he sounds like he's off his meds. The Village, even though it does have some problems with the writing, the female character is at least likable. Granted, she doesn't become the main character until about the second half of the movie, but still, she's at least semi-likable. And then, of course, Lady in the Water, Paul Giamatti's character is likable, along with the female lead. This movie, the characters are written in a way that I would say they're kind of likable, but what really brings it down is the performances from Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel. Zoe, her performance wavers throughout the movie. At times she's okay, and then at other times she's knock on wood. And Mark, the only scene I felt he did at least a decent job in is the scene where he's actually teaching, and for that I will say I buy Mark as a school teacher. But it's throughout the rest of the movie. I mean, just type in one scene alone that really shows this is the what no scene. I mean, I'm just taking acting classes for the first time, and I already know that that's not how you do a delivery like that. You're like, she just accused you of trying to kill her in her sleep, and you act like that? I mean, even on his worst day, Nicolas Cage acts better than that. Ran over the top a little bit, but I'd rather have overacting. I'd take overacting for, here's the thing, I'll take overacting over underacting and acting wrong for a situation. Nicolas Cage is not the bees moment. Makes a lot more sense than what? No! The only actor I would accept doing it that way would be Christopher Walken. And Mark Wahlberg, you are no Christopher Walken. There is only one Christopher Walken, and that is Christopher fucking Walken. I don't know. I just had to throw that But it's a straw door, so how he knocks on it, I don't know. Who wrote this script? So not a pig has a chin, I don't know. So he hit the watch, the only place he knew where he could hide it, up his ass. I know I just had to throw in a couple random Christopher Walken lines, spice up the video. But like I said, Mark, Zoe, knock on wood. John Leguizamo, for his side character, he does a pretty good job too. But he's probably the best acting performance out of the bunch, and he's a minor character. But he hardly has any screen time, and his performance is hampered, I guess, by the people he has to work with. Because I know M. Night gets good performances out of his actors, but John can only work good if he's going with good actors, and he's not really going with some good actors here. So, and also the fact I know they're supposed to be best friends, but I think it might have been because of Mark, but I didn't really see that much of a chemistry between Julian and Elliot as friends. Maybe it's a situation, I don't know. And Elliot and Alma, the characters, I know they're supposed to be married, it's supposed to be a tense marriage, but they just didn't really seem like they were married. They were coming across more as a couple, like a high school couple that was dating. That's what their relationship seemed like to me, and that's the weak thing. But that's really my only major problem with the movie is our lead actors, and that's, like I said, it keeps it from being constantly rewatchable. But I could rewatch the movie usually when I get the DVD. I don't know, but I can at least say I'd rewatch it if I'm bored. I'm like, when I'm in the mood for something. Now, of course, I think if I don't address this, people are going to jump down my throats. The whole situation involving what's happening. Now, the movie, they don't really fully answer what's going on. They give like little hints of what it could be, like trees and stuff, which I have to say, if that's what's going on, I have no problem with it being trees. Because the movie does explain that trees will do something like with caterpillars and stuff, and think about it. Is it really that hard of a stretch to believe that eventually plants would see humans as a threat? I think they eventually would. Certain species of them would. I mean, the last scene of the movie that one scientist kind of explains about what it would do, the whole red tide thing only with plants, and I can buy that as an explanation. But the movie leaves the possibility of that, and it might not be it. I mean, to steal from a meme, I'm not saying it was aliens, but never know. This could be like you never know, this movie could be a loose sequel to Signs, and the aliens are getting back at the humans. You can view it that way. It's up to you. But you never know. It could be aliens. Or maybe it's Pop-Tarts. It's not Pop-Tarts! If anyone gets that. I just have to throw that in. But it could be anything. And as my good buddy Matt said, what's wrong with a little mystery? In this movie, the mystery works. And I'm actually glad they don't 100% answer it. And that's, I think, the strength of the movie. And of course, like I said, it does have a sort of B-movie vibe. But that's what it is, a classy B-movie vibe, at least for me. But still, it's not a great movie, but is at least a time waster of a movie. My rating for The Happening, honestly, 3 out of 5. That's kind of being a little bit generous, but it's an enjoyable movie, I will say. If you haven't seen it, I say give it at least one watch.